Good morning. Welcome to Unity of Fort Myers virtual Sunday service. I'm Reverend Carla. I'm back in the office. I'm here and available to you. So use me.
Spent a long time running, I never knew then what I know now. That the fruits, they always come in, but you can't go around just knocking them down. It takes a long time to show in. We plant the seeds then, and we look at them now. But the roots are always growing, no matter if I'm there or never around.
Whatever grows will grow, whatever dies will die, whatever works will work, whatever flies will fly, whatever fails will fail, what's meant to sow will sow. I am planting seeds, nothing more.
It's like your whole life, you've been training for this moment, and when the time comes, you just disown it, meaning you just surrender, don't control it, not interested in the clay pots and mold it, sitting next to the path trying to unfold it, or waiting for the fruits to fall down toward you, let it go, and now you're flowing, feeling quite gorgeous, so you take steps away instead of towards it. What a rush, feeling freedom with nothing to hold. We've been taught that what you touch will always turn to gold, and now we're learning when we let it go, it overflows with no credit to take, cause no credit is owned. A higher power working deeper where the seeds are sowed, and when the seeds are true, then they're seeds of gold. But the real gold is joy when life starts to flow, and when it does, you just smile, cause now you know. I spent a long time running, I never knew then what I know now. That the fruits, they always come in, but you can't go around just knocking them down. It takes a long time to show in. We plant the seeds then, and we look at them now. But the roots are always growing, no matter if I'm there or never around.
Whatever grows will grow, whatever dies will die, whatever works will work, whatever flies will fly, whatever fails will fail, what's meant to sow will sow. I am planting seeds. Whatever grows will grow,
when it grows, it grows,
whatever dies will
and when it dies, it dies. Come on, if it works, it works.
Whatever flies will
let it fly, let it
whatever
fly.
fails will fail, what's meant to sow will sow. I am planting seeds. Whatever grows will grow, whatever dies will die, whatever works will work,
When it works, it works.
let it fly, let it fly. Fails will fail, what's meant to sow will sow. I am planting seeds
and nothing more.
Good morning. I am Heather, and I'm your platform assistant today, and I'm delighted to be here. And we start just to remind you of our announcements. We have many classes, events, and things that you can be doing, ways to connect at this time. And you can find this on our website, on our Facebook page, and also in the weekly email that comes out from the office. And Reverend Carla is now here, so this is wonderful. And Reverend Carla, are you still available on Thursdays? Is that still the same?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
So Reverend Carla has set Thursdays aside for us. So please contact her if you need to be in touch with her. And we really hope that you will join us after our service for our virtual coffee hour right here on Zoom. And the information is on the Facebook page. And it's been so fun to see each other after service and catch up and talk and see what's going on. So that's something we hope you'll join us for. And today we have something special that we're very excited. We have so many wonderful volunteers. And one of the things we like to do once a month is recognize our very important volunteers. And this month, we are delighted to recognize Tom and Sharon Bray. They are being honored as our VIVs this month. And we are so blessed by their commitment to this community and by their dedication to serving our welcome team. Who has not been welcomed by them with smiles and love? So thank you, both of you, Tom and Sharon, for all that you've done for us and continue to do for us. And we look forward to seeing your faces wherever we do, hopefully on the coffee hour afterwards. Unity was founded on prayer, and we are committed to praying with you through everything and anything. Our chaplains are here for you, and you can call the office at 239-278-1511 to let the office know if you have prayer requests. You can also email your prayer requests or put them in the chat right here on our Facebook. And you can also call Silent Unity, which is available almost 24/7 for you on the phone. So we hope that all of your prayer needs will be met here and in a larger Unity community.
This morning in prayer, we call upon God's love in this important moment, knowing that divine love is the greatest power in the universe. We pray for the wounded heart of humanity as we grieve, rage, cry, and despair over injustice and inequity. May divine love unfold and comfort everyone who is hurting. May divine wisdom guide the person and institution in taking inspired action to ensure that all are celebrated for their inherent goodness and part of God's creation. May we remain resolute in walking the course of human rights and social justice for all. We pray in the spirit of unity, love, and oneness. Amen.
As Reverend Carla and Reverend Robert continue their discussion on the book Birthing a Greater Reality, and in light of recent events, we wanted to share with you this morning a few passages from Unity's statement on social action. The Unity movement stands for and will tirelessly work for harmony so all people may know the freedom of peaceful expression, so they may know their own inner worth and essential contribution to the whole of life. We choose unity. In harmony with the divine spirit, we stand so we may live in a spiritually awakened world that is continually evolving. This is our prayer and our decree. Through our actions, we let it be.
Good morning, Robert. Welcome to the Office of Unity of Fort Myers, where I am today, and where people have been enjoying our series on your book, Birthing a Greater Reality.
Good. Thank you. It's a joy to be here once again. Thank you.
This whole idea of evolving consciousness and our part in it is imperative right now, don't you feel?
Oh, yeah, for sure. We're on the cutting edge of evolution taking place. So we can talk more about that as we go along here.
So just a brief recap of what we talked about last week were the placeholders in the evolution of consciousness. And now we're coming into the involution of evolution in humankind.
Exactly. We've been talking about the global evolution of consciousness, planetary-wide, species-wide, and now we're talking about the individual. And one of the keynotes of this book is that there's an inherent connection between the evolution of the individual and the evolution of the planet. So the individual evolution is in a way a microcosm of the global evolutionary process. So they work together. It's not a cause and effect. It's just sort of a counterpart, if you will. So we'll talk about the individual today. We've been talking about global evolution the last 2 Sundays.
Well, and I think you're right that they're woven together as we see reality. So then that we become that reality, right?
Yes. So we are affected by the field, if you want to call it that. Teilhard de Chardin called it the noosphere, and it's the sort of the collective consciousness, and we are impacted by that, and at the same time we have the ability to transform that.
Yes.
And that's what we're talking about today. But in order to transform it, we have to understand how it works, because otherwise we're working from within a certain paradigm, and all we can do within that paradigm is the limitations. We have to go beyond it. So it's almost like going from 2 dimensions to 3 dimensions, if you will. You know, we can run around in 2-dimensionally and we're never going to get up, no matter how fast we run. But it's about changing our orientation, the direction in which we live our lives, and how we see ourselves, and how we see the universe we live in.
So it's the big questions we ask ourselves.
Indeed. Who am I? Why am I here? Et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, exactly. So to begin with, who am I? That's a key question, you know. And if we ask ourselves, who am I? Typically, we'll say, you know, I'm a male, I'm an American, I'm a Unity member, I'm a this, I'm a that. We'll describe everything about us. But if somebody says, well, who are you? Well, you could say, this is my history. These are my goals. This is what I want to do. That's great. But who are you? You keep probing that, we find there's no answer to that question. And so within the human identity, the ego, there is this almost like a hole in the middle of it. And if we go into that hole, it's very, very scary for most of us, because the ego feels like it doesn't exist. And the reality is that it doesn't. It exists only in the context of our conditioning. You know, like a dream exists only within the context of that dream. So if we go into that hole, it's frightening. Yet at the same time, it's like a black hole. If we're able to go through it, we actually enter into a whole new universe. And that's what we're here to talk about, is how we can go into that hole, how we can unpack who we think we are, and to see who we, not who we can be, but who we've always been.
Always been.
A greater reality's always been there. It's waiting for us to discover it and to activate it, if you will.
And that's really what the spiritual teachers throughout the years have told us. It's already there inside of us.
Exactly.
It's that ego and shadow that trip us up, our needing to know. Whereas when you free fall through a black hole, you go, I don't know.
You don't have the answers, exactly. Yeah. You don't even have the orientation is what happens. So going back to the very beginning of our personal existence, we come here as a little infant, pretty helpless, totally helpless, dependent on our parents and our family. And so the question we ask is, how do I survive? You know, it's not a cognitive question, but that's what every organism says. How do I survive? Well, I survive by depending upon mom, dad, family, the people around me. I can't, an infant cannot survive on its own. Some species, they're instinctive. They're born with instincts that help them survive. We don't have those instincts. We are enculturated with our survival tools. How we survive in the world is taught to us. It's not instinctive. So we're taught that we're white or we're black, that we're good or we're bad. We're taught that we're rich or we're poor, we're smart or we're not smart. We call it Ram Dass, one of my teachers used to call it, we go into somebody training. We don't know who we are when we come in, but we're taught to be somebody. And that somebody we are taught to be is the somebody that we need to be to survive. That's kind of the contract we have with our parents. You give me what I need to survive, and I'll be how you want me to be. And that, if that works, great. But the problem is, when we're no longer in our family of origin, that self that we've been taught to be is not necessarily functional in the world, number one. And number two, it's not who we really are.
Yeah.
So the biggest, I think the first step typically in unraveling this is to look at how we've developed a good self and a bad self.
Yes.
We're all familiar with that with kids. We know what we can do, what's good, and we know what we better not say or do that's bad. And of course, maybe this is reinforced by religion. For many of us, it was. It's reinforced by our culture, by our parents. What's good, what's bad. And when we become teenagers, by our peer group. Our peer group tells us what's good and what's bad. So we develop this persona, which is a mask. This is who I want the world to see who I am. And then there's the shadow part of ourself. That's the bad part of ourself. You see, that's the part we want to hide behind us. We don't want anybody to see it. So we live this split personality, this split being. And what happens then is what we refuse to see directly within us gets projected out onto the screen of the world. So
say that again, because this is really important.
Yeah,
to understand.
What we don't see directly within us, we will see projected onto the world around us, kind of like the film strip projector.
Mm-hmm.
And the light is coming from behind us, but the whole thing appears to be out in front of us. And so the shadow and the persona then is seen in the world. And so there's good people, quote unquote, that match our persona. And there's, quote, bad people that don't match our persona, that remind us of our shadow. And we struggle with that in the same way that we struggle with our own shadow. So if we hate our shadow, we're afraid of our shadow, then we're going to be afraid of those people that we projected that shadow onto. And every culture has its persona and its shadow. And somebody once said, all you need to do is look at who's in your universities, find out what the persona is, and then look at who's in the prisons to look at what your shadow is.
Oh.
And so we have the good guys and the bad guys. So, and so to the extent that we're not seeing them as human beings, we're seeing them as projections of our own shadow. Then we dehumanize them, and we dehumanize ourselves. And so as we do the healing outwardly, it's a great time to do the healing inward, because once again they go in tandem. And so we really can't heal anything externally as long as we're blind to what we've been projecting.
That's really an important point, Robert, right now with what we're facing. We can't be cruel and unjust to another human being without dehumanizing them, without saying, this is bad. We're not seeing the good that's there, but it's because of our perception, not because of the truth.
Exactly. And it's because, in a way, we've dehumanized ourselves.
Sure. Oh, my gosh, yes. Yeah. Boy, white privilege constantly running into, oh, my gosh, yeah.
Yeah. So we deny ourselves of access to our own true nature. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so if we're going to heal the planet, we start with healing ourselves. And yet the way to heal ourselves is to begin to see how we project how we project our identity onto the world. And so I in the classes that I used to teach at Unity Institute, I'd say, if you want to discover your shadow, just look around and see who it is that's bugging you, that's eating your lunch, that you're afraid of, or that you hate, or that you're ashamed of, or whatever, Anybody you're condemning or anybody you're terrified of, that's part of your shadow.
And people just love that, don't they?
Well, they usually, whenever I'd walk into a classroom, everybody ducks. It's. I feel like I'm kind of like the undertaker or the coroner. But it's really not bad news. The thing is that it's like if we don't heal that within ourselves, which is not easy to do, we're not going to be able to be what we say we are. It's
exactly.
Like Carl Jung, he said it so beautifully. He says, if we become spiritually awake, not by chasing the light, but by embracing our own shadow.
Yes.
And so instead of chasing the light, turn that light in upon ourselves, you see. And so it's not about self-condemnation. It's not about judging ourselves. It's just becoming acquainted with all of who we are.
Yes. And I think that's what trips us up on looking at the shadow is we think we're judging our parents as being, all those kinds of things, right, that somehow that we could have been made perfect if they had been better, but we already are perfect.
Yes.
And we have a shadow.
Yes. And of course they're saying if only you were the way I taught you to be, you would be perfect. So right. It's all a matter of perspective, you say.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
And in the world, we can see the persona, we can see the shadow. We can see who's in charge and who's not. You see. Look at our politicians, and then look at the population. You see, do they really reflect who we are? Are they really speaking for who we are? So anyway, we could go on and on about the politics of it, but it's the internal politics. It's really
that. Yes, it's the internal politics, because it's true whether you're looking at a political system or you're looking at a church culture.
Exactly.
It's the same thing. Exactly. We have to look at our shadow to transform into what now we will be.
Exactly.
Becoming.
Exactly. And I tell people sometimes the one way to discover your shadow also, besides the projection, is just to take a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle of it, and write on one side everything you would like people to see and know about you. I'm intelligent, I've got all of these degrees, I've done this, I've done that. And on the other side, write just the opposite of that. And that's the shadow. That's the part of us that we're afraid of. So, yeah. So
and when you up to that, it might be scary for a little bit,
yeah,
or
exactly.
very, very, very uncomfortable for a while.
Right.
But there is an incredible freedom on the other side.
Absolutely, because freedom is when we're not hiding from ourselves any longer. That's total freedom. When we're able to see and embrace all parts of ourselves, there's nothing more to be afraid of. There's nothing more to judge. It's the beauty of who we really are. And so often we try to find that from within the persona. And so when we talk about goodness and light and love and everything, if we see it from the persona perspective, we're looking at it from the perspective of love and light means being like me. Love and light means being like I want you to be. So, yeah, peace, harmony, love, beauty, and all of that's wonderful. But usually we're the ones that's defining what that looks like, you say. And that's, as Shakespeare would say, there's the rub,
And how many parents have tried to dream for their children what their lives should be like, and how has that turned out?
All of us have.
We have these wonderful dreams, and it's not. I can remember when my daughter turned to me and said, "Mom, that's your dream for me. That's not my dream." And I went, "Oh, thank God, she's smart enough to get that."
Exactly. Yeah. So we've got this unlived life within us. And very often we try to project that onto our children. We want them to live the life that we fantasize that we want. And so looking at our unlived life, looking at our unmet desires and needs, looking at our unexpressed emotions, look at all the things inside of us that want to come out that we've been sitting on, because the persona puts a lid on it, you see. It's like the persona, if I can get graphic here, the persona puts its knee on the neck of the shadow. Okay? And it just crushes it.
Yes.
And that's what happens inside.
And then too, you've got your theology that you beat yourself up with too, along with the personas on the shadow. And then somehow, if I was spiritually different, everything would be okay. So I deny and deny and deny that shadow, and we never heal or transform.
Yes. Part of the ego is what some psychologists call the ego ideal. So the ego is who I am, who I think I am. The ego ideal is who I think I should be. So there's the ideal, there's how I think I am, and then there's the shadow back there, who I never want to be. And so the ego is always trying to live up to who it thinks it should be. Because if I achieve my ego ideals, then everything will be wonderful, right? I'll be happy and live ever after. Well, no, obviously that doesn't work. Even if I do live the ideals, I find I'm not happy. If I don't live my ideals, I'm not happy. Either way, there's suffering, you see. It's disillusionment. So it's who we are already. There's nothing for us that we need to improve other than our own consciousness, our own awareness.
So how do we integrate, Robert? I think I found it very difficult to face my shadow alone.
Yes.
To face my fears, I needed a trusted advisor. I needed Robert Brumet. I needed my close friends. I needed a therapist. I needed my spiritual minister. All those things helped me feel safe enough to fall through that black hole of the shadow, to be able to see that it didn't make me bad to have a shadow.
Yes. That's an excellent point, because we need what I call a container.
Yes.
A container can be a therapist. It can be a spiritual director, clergy person, whatever. Friends usually are not the good containers, because the friends, they want you to be as your persona is. That's how they know you.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
Yeah. It has to be somebody that can hold you without an agenda.
Yes.
Spouses, don't go to your spouse for shadow work.
Well, I found that after 26 years being married, we're doing the dance of who we truly are. Yeah. In these years, I'm so grateful that we've reached that point, because in the beginning, you always want to fix your spouse, make them happy, don't be uncomfortable,
Sure.
Boot them up, work with the ego, the personality, deny the shadow. But when you see the true light that somebody is, their essence, then the relationship gets authentic and real.
Exactly. Yeah, we want them to live up to our ego ideal also.
Yes, exactly.
The partner's ego, the partner as they are, the one that we want them to be, the one that we hope they never become.
Right. It's definitely a spiritual journey.
Absolutely. So awareness and love, loving ourselves. Loving ourselves means accepting ourselves as we are. Now, accepting ourselves as we are doesn't mean that we act out all of our feelings. That's not helpful.
No.
You can have feelings of rage, destructive feelings, but those need to be contained. You know, maybe I need to scream or shout or hit a pillow, but that needs to be contained. Not, I don't do that in the workplace.
Yeah.
I don't do that on the street. And also, we need support because it's very, like you said, it's very frightening because we feel like we're maybe 2 years old when we're in the shadow. I mean, the shadow is a very young part of ourselves because the earlier we've disconnected from that part of ourselves, the more the more basic that shadow is. So, in other words, if a very, very young age, at infancy, we had to disconnect from something, we have to, in a sense, feel like that infant. In a way, make a different choice to not disconnect from ourselves, but to embrace ourselves.
That whole reparenting, that inner child work.
Exactly. Yeah. So what we do without realizing it is, the ship is being attacked, so throw the women and children overboard. It's kind of what we do. It's like I need to survive, so I'll just, like that poor man that got his arm caught that was hiking.
Oh yeah.
He fell down and his arm was caught between two boulders, and he had to cut it off. Well, that's exactly what we do. Is we cut psychologically, of course, we cut off these parts of ourselves. And so the healing is to go through that process and say, I'm not going to do that this time. There's a way out of it, you see. And the way out of it is just to see it through our adult eyes, through our conscious awareness. Recognize we had no choice. Have compassion for who we were. And to recognize, well, yeah, I did what I needed to do to survive. And now let's take a look at some different choices. These are the choices you made as a child, and they worked. But now maybe they don't work, and let's make different choices. So love, and it's the same way as what we're doing externally. Dialogue, acceptance. And so we dialogue with our parts of ourselves, accept these parts of ourselves. So the process is very similar internally and externally.
And that's where, mindfulness practices are so helpful. I know for me, the insight meditation really helped me when I was going through ministerial school and really facing my shadow and
indeed,
that container that you created allowed me to see some of the stuff that I didn't want to see, but I felt safe enough to look at it.
Yes.
And then as a spiritual director, you helped me then to be able to integrate that into understanding who I am with compassion.
I remember those days. Yes.
Yes. Robert, am I in crisis?
Yeah, you cried your way through school.
Well, everybody died around me, and I'm thinking, what?
That was appropriate.
Yes. I chose this, Robert? Are you sure?
It did feel like it, didn't it?
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah, I tell people it's not a journey for sissies.
No.
It takes a lot of courage. And not the macho, I'm going to bust through it kind of courage, but the courage to just keep loving ourselves and to be present. No matter what, I think the bottom line is I say to people, no matter what, don't abandon yourself. Don't abandon your own heart. Don't abandon your own heart. And so along with mindfulness is what I call heartfulness. So
love it.
Bring awareness, and then we bring kindness and compassion to all those parts of ourselves. We bring kindness and compassion to all people, even the apparent perpetrators. They're suffering too in a very different way. So that's when the healing takes place. Is when we no longer have a good guy and a bad guy. When we see that we are all inherently good in a much deeper way.
In a much deeper way.
Deeper way, yeah.
Which doesn't mean we don't take a stand.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. In fact, that's what we need to do to both internally and externally.
Mm-hmm.
Take that stand and say, no, this is not who I am. This is who I choose to be. So it's like, I'm not going to run from myself, and I'm not going to run away from the reality of my world either.
Beautiful. So after integration, then what, Robert?
Well, that's what we'll talk about next week. And is there's integration, then there's wholeness, and with wholeness, we can be in the world in a much more viable way, and there's much less suffering. But that's not the end of the road yet either. So we'll talk about that next week.
Fantastic. And for those of you who are listening, if you have a question you want to ask Robert, our last session will be over the 4th of July weekend, and it just will be Robert answering your questions. So be sure and get those into the church. So I have them prepared to test Robert on. And I'm wondering now, my friend, if you would take us into a meditation.
I would be happy to. Very happy to. So, whatever you're experiencing right now, I invite you to just be aware of it. Just be present to it. And breathe into whatever is here. Whether it's joy or fear or rage or anything in between, just be okay with what's here. Just for this moment. Just for this moment, this is okay right here and right now. So as we begin to bring love and acceptance to each experience, we're bringing love and acceptance to all parts of ourselves. In each moment, some part of ourself is revealed to us. In each moment, we have a new aspect of self coming into the room. So we want to greet and love that part of ourself. And if it's dangerous and it wants to destroy the room, we don't let it do that. We take our stand, and at the same time, we do it with love. So we can love our rage, we can love our shame, we can love all parts of ourselves, knowing that that's only the result of our woundedness, only the result of our pain. It's not who we really are. So no matter how dark the thunderstorm, no matter how dark the clouds in the sky, behind it all is the sun. And as the thunderstorm rages through, the sun eventually emerges. And so we open our mind, our heart, our body to that sunlight. Sunlight that is your own true nature. We'll rest in that sunlight for a couple of minutes, breathing, allowing the light to shine upon whatever your experience is in this moment, letting it be loving it as it is. And so, as we close this time of meditation, stay present, stay awake, keep loving, never abandon your heart. Let your light shine, the light that you truly are. The divine within me beholds the divine within you. Namaste. Namaste.
Namaste. My heart is full of gratitude, Robert.
Thank you. It's a joy to be here with you, Carla. Real joy. Thanks.
Let us share the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also have forgiven our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from error.
For thine is the kingdom and the glory forever. Amen.
Amen. And now is the time in our service when we thank you for supporting us. We are so grateful for all of the support that you are providing us at this time. We are dependent on your donations to continue doing all the work that we do here at Unity of Fort Myers. We want to remind you that there are multiple ways that you can support and give at this time. You can text the word Give Unity Fort Myers to 44321, which is also here on the screen. There is a web link on our Facebook, on our website, where you can also donate. And we are so grateful, and we encourage you to continue to support all the work that we're doing here at this time. Thank you so much.
And now let's bless these gifts and bless the givers. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I am grateful.
And now let us also bless our children. I invite you to warm up your hands and to join me in letting all the children of the world, and especially the ones in our community, know you are loved, you are special, you are important. We behold and we bless the Christ you are. And as we close, let us remember that one of our fondest and dearest wishes is for peace on earth. So let there be peace on earth. Let it begin with me. Let it begin with us. And now we close with our prayer of protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am that light. The love of God enfolds us. I am that love. The power of God protects us. I am that power. The presence of God watches over us. I am that presence. Wherever God is, wherever I am, God is. And wherever God is, I am. And all is well.
Have a blessed day. Join us right after the service for a coffee hour. And remember, you make a difference. Be blessed, my friends.
say thank you. Thank you. Thank you. 'Cause I'm so grateful. So grateful. Oh, grateful. I'm so grateful. So I want to say thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. Now thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day. I want to say thank you. Thank you. I want to say thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you. 'Cause I'm so grateful. So grateful. So grateful. So grateful. So grateful. So grateful. I'm so grateful. So grateful. I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you. Just thank you. Thank you. I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you. Thank you. Thank you. 'Cause I'm so grateful. Yeah. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I want to just say thank you now. Just thank you now. Thank you now. Thank you now.